Hello, everyone, and welcome to Drinks with Johnny. I am exceptionally excited today. Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas yesterday. This episode is going to be coming out on the 26th. But I'm excited because I got a blast from my past here on the show. A good old friend, Ryan Fair of Shadows Fall, is joining us. Of course, I got my co-host, Sam the Hawk Hawkins. How are you guys doing today, the day after Christmas? Let's pretend, right?
Doing wonderful, man. Santa came through and, and got everything I needed and took care of the kids, so all is well in this world.
You got 2 kids, right? How old are your kids?
2 kids. Yeah, they are 7 and 10, so nice. Like 2 different levels of insanity. So
boys, girls, what do you got?
Boy and a girl, 10-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy. So, yep. We had the matching set, so we were like, we're done. Shut down the factory. That was that.
Did you actually shut the factory down? Or
without a doubt, yeah. I'm not taking any chances. We're done. We're done.
Okay. So you went and got snipped?
Indeed, man. You got to, man. I ain't taking any chances. The kids are expensive.
No, fucking A.
Plus, we're already overpopulated the world, so.
No, I was just curious because, I'm starting to think about getting snipped because, I only have the 1 kid, and we're one and doners. But for me, I'm like, it was so much fun making that 1 kid, if you know what I mean. I'm kind of like, infinite cream pies kind of sound kind of good,
That's, you'd have those nights where you just know, I'm like, if that wouldn't have been done, something would have just happened there. Like, that was the, you just know that moment. I'm like, nope, we're going to eliminate it from any potential. So, done. Although I got to tell you, the procedure is so awkward where, this dude was trying to, chat with me about SNL skits from the night before where I can smell the laser burning of flesh, where I'm like, bro, focus. I don't give a shit about SNL. I don't, focus. I'm sitting up in stirrups. My balls through a little thing, come on. No, just all of your attention should be on the task at hand. So
what Saturday Night Live was it? I kind of want to know.
I don't know, man. I was just thinking about anything else. But,
yeah, we're big Saturday Night Live fans over here. So
yeah. Sweaty balls, wasn't it? Wasn't the
that would have been perfect.
Yeah. Did you see that skit with Alec Baldwin? Yeah, man. I'm so glad you're here. I saw you. You have a can of something there. What are you drinking on there, Brian?
What do we got? A little the Neon Beer Hug from where is this from? Goose Island. So it's a nice 7% IPA. So
nice.
Not too bad. A sucker for a cool can. I'm not gonna lie. So
yeah, no, and IPA is the way to go if you're gonna have a beer. I'm sorry, I can't drink regular beers anymore. If I'm gonna have a beer, it has to be an IPA, or I just won't drink a beer.
It depends. If I'm mowing the lawn, I'll just rip through 10 cans of Busch Light and just get it done. But it's more of just for hydration purposes. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's water at that point. It's water.
Yeah.
Well, man, I was excited that you were coming on the show, so I looked and saw how busy you've been. Let's get into some of that and the fact that you're starting, before we hit record here, you're starting to do some press again. I know that at one point I saw that Shadows Fall might be having some new music coming out soon.
Yeah, we're pretty deep into the process. I won't say I'm kind of the slacker, but I'm really focusing on getting things as good as I can vocally because we have no agenda, we have no time frame, we have no record label pressure. We're just trying to write the best music we can, and it all kind of came about as we started jamming to do the reunion shows, and these guys have, John's been playing in Anthrax and Jason's been playing in Overkill, so their chops are still at top-notch level, but they had riffs, man, and I was like, if we got riffs and they sound like Shadows Fall, if we're gonna get together and jam, let's make some new music. So I've got probably 7 structured outlines pretty much nailed down. I think they have instrumentally 2 or 3 more. They've started tracking with Zeus already. So some of the foundations getting laid down, which has been great. So I can demo to actual, guitar tracks and drum tracks. And then we can also, if we need to rearrange, thankfully the modern technology allows for that as well. But it's been a blast, man. And it's funny because the older we've gotten, it's gotten a little more brutal, which was, not a surprise because, I just figured that would happen. We're if we're going to do it, we're going to drop the hammer. So yeah. It's been fun, man. It's been fun writing with these dudes. I forgot how much of a riff machine John was. And he's just ideas are just flying out of him. And also in Anthrax, he just gets a solo in the studio. So he's just finally, I get to write some riffs,
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I saw John not that long. It's a while ago now when he was out with Anthrax. It was fun to see him out on the road. But yeah, I mean, this will be, after this reunion, it's been 10 years. You guys came back last year after the 10-year reunion of your last record.
Yep.
Man, what I know that you went on and did some other projects as well, like Hell Night, which I was just listening to. I wasn't familiar with until like the last few days or like last week. And I was listening to it. Dude, I love it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of it.
Awesome. That shit's fun, man. That happened really randomly. When I first I moved out to St. Louis, where my wife's from, when we stopped kind of touring. And one of the first bands I saw was Hell Night, randomly, because my wife was friends with their original singer. And I was blown away. It was like this weird mix of like Black Flag energy, but with like almost like Deep Purple kind of riffs and like all this shit going on. And I was like, wow, this band's killer.
Rat song, Rat Minutes on the last
Rat Menace, yeah.
Dude,
those
song,
are some riffs that I actually kind of wrote. Our guitar player plays in this weird tuning with like an open A, but then everything else is standard. And I had never even held a guitar that did that. So I was
open A and everything else is standard.
It was just this weird, like, it almost sounds like, I think the guy from Trans Am uses it sometimes. It gives you this droning, super low note, but you can then like kind of do just regular riffing on the higher stuff. So I had never picked up a guitar in that tuning, and the first main riff just kind of started happening by just moving where I felt like it should go, and that turned into Rat Mantis. So I love that tune, but they've been a blast to play with. So
yeah, dude, I just want to talk about that song real quick. Cause like I was just listening to it and I was like, you're right. All the energy is there. The riffs are fucking heavy. And you still got your rockin' vocals on it, and then, but like for me, I'm listening to the note selection. That's funny that you just gave me a little piece of how it came about. And I was like, there's like Primus in this. There's like some Primus notation going on in there.
There's some weird shit going on for sure, and it was by accident because I didn't know what I was doing in that tuning, so I was just going for it. And then they structured it. Yeah, they structured it a little bit once I kind of had the ideas down, and but yeah, man. He uses a few different tunings. They're all bizarre, and his guitar sounds more like a shark bite than like a guitar tone. It's just this fucking sound, and he has a tendency to play so loud that it's probably like I never had to like deal with super volume in Shadows Fall because everything on stage was so confined and all that. This shit is like kind of bring me back to like, oh wow, like if it's too loud, you're too old. I'm like, shit, I might be too old. I was like, this is fucking loud, man. But it adds to his tone and all that. So it's been cool, man. Very different than Shadows Fall as well. So it's fun to do something totally different, a lot more punk rock, not as polished, And we write songs and we record them almost immediately, so we can't overthink anything and just like do it all raw. So it's cool.
Dude, that's a really fun project. I was listening to it because again, I hadn't heard about it. And I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. So
nice. I'm glad you dig it.
Keeping yourself busy there. And I know like we just talked about with 2 kids and everything. And I know we were talking, you now have, what do you do during the day? Like
I work for Alvarez Guitars. What's actually this company, St. Louis Music, where we own a few different instrument companies, Alvarez Guitars, Dixon Drums, and then a few like band and orchestra companies as well. So yeah, it's cool. I just, kind of get to play really cool high-end Japanese made custom shop guitars during the day and like try and sell them to people and then and it's been cool because kind of get to stay within the music industry but in a way that's a lot more like stable than trying to like drive around the country and yell at people.
well we all know how unstable it is. I mean you go back to like one of my first tours with Avenged ever was with you guys, and there was tours. And even then, there were stories I was hearing about you guys with the other bassists before me. So I know like, for a lot of people like might not know, listening and watching this now, maybe weren't with us during those times, but Shadows Fall was one of the bands that took Avenged Sevenfold out and hooked us up and had some really fun tours together, man.
We had a blast, man. And of course, those early days, the first time I met the Avenged dudes before you had joined the band, we played this place called the IROC in Detroit, which is basically like a pool hall that has like rock shows, and it's super sketchy, whatever. And we were out with From Autumn to Ashes and God Forbid. And the Avenged dudes roll in, and like, that was the peak era of like fashion core Orange County kind of stuff. And they come in like, already taking over the bathroom and just, straight ironing everything, flat irons and then the eye makeup's going on. And I'm just like, all right, what's going on here? Like, what do we got going on here?
Yeah. From Massachusetts, you hadn't seen anything like that.
Us and God Forbid come out of our vans just like fucking Neanderthals, like, like who haven't showered in weeks and just, and, but man, they opened, was it with Unholy Confessions? As soon as they started playing, I was like, wait a minute.
It wasn't Unholy yet, because it must have been to End the Rapture.
Maybe
that was all sounding stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, and out of the gates, I'm like, what is this like amped up Iron Maiden fucking insane shredding guitar, like just all over the place, and then the vocals, where he was going back from the brutal screams to the high vocals, and I was blown away. And
I know then it has to be. I know it has to be. It has to be a Second Heartbeat. That's what it was.
That was probably what it was. So I was immediately blown away, and I'm like, holy shit, this is not what I expected. This is amazing. And it was also to see, like it's always when you see bands that have a level of musicianship in the scene at that time, I was always like, oh shit, these dudes can play. And but then all of a sudden, I think it was Zachy comes swinging with the guitar and splits open Matt's head right down the center. So now the makeup is just mixing with blood, and he doesn't miss a beat and just fully leans into it, at that point. Granted, remember, there's probably like 45 people there.
That was a big show. 45 people that year was a big show,
like this Tuesday night at the IROC in Detroit. And he's just bleeding and going for it. And I'm like, these dudes fucking rule.
How metal is that?
Yeah, totally. I was just so into it and was like, and then we started hanging out and I'm like, oh, and they party. I'm like, this is going to be great. So yeah, and that was our first time. But then there was a few runs after that were just chaos, like so much fun.
Well, I want to get into those for sure because I have some. Because again, this is probably my second or third tour. Was that Plea for Peace tour that we did together?
Yep.
I remember you guys had a home show in Massachusetts. I think we were in Worcester.
Yep. Good old Worcester.
With that. I don't remember the name of the venue. Maybe you will remember it. But like the dressing rooms were upstairs and the stage was downstairs.
That was the Palladium in Worcester. Yep.
That's what it was. So, do you remember us almost getting kicked off the tour after that night?
Yeah, I have a vague memory of that. Yeah, that tour, we were on thin ice for a good amount of that tour as well. So that seemed to go.
It was interesting that they grabbed all these bands like us and put them on this bill, and then it was this Plea for Peace. Like they had like a PETA thing set up and everything, which I was fine with, but like. It was just a
very PC tour for us.
It was a very PC tour. Yeah, exactly. And Poison the Well was headlining. It was my first club tour. Like I did Warp Tour with them and a couple other things, but that was like the first we're doing one of these kind of tours. It's got a name. We're doing clubs across the states, and I'll get to that story. I don't know if Sam knows this story actually. So the dressing rooms being up there was no bathroom up where we were at. So after the show, like we played first, we were first to four, I believe, first or second. And we go afterward, we're having beers up in the dressing room. There's no bathroom. There's nothing. So I was like, dude, I got to take a piss. And Jimmy and Brian told me just to go take a piss in the bucket over here that was in the corner. Or he said, that's not even how it was. He was like, oh, just go pick that up for me real quick. And it was a bucket, and I started picking it up. He's like, you're picking up my piss. And I was like, oh, God damn it. And I throw it out the window. And down on the street level was the entire production for this Plea for Peace tour that we were talking. That's very PC. And they almost get smacked with a bunch of piss. Val was our tour manager for it, Val Sanders. And she had to put me in the van and was like, we're so sorry. And we had to wait for 24 hours to see if we were still going to be on the tour.
That's amazing, man.
But we were drinking with you boys.
Oh yeah. That was our hometown show. So we were probably raging. And we also not having to headline, was always a beautiful thing, so you can actually start partying before the show's over.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, but man, Worcester shows can get hectic, man. We call it Wormtown. It's for a reason. So it's always a rager. That's where our first reunion show was. It's kind of like our hometown venue. So I forgot about the piss bucket story, but it's funny because there was a Shadows Fall piss bucket story when with Poison the Well was involved as well. We played some. It was the Kerrang Weekender where they would literally take over a summer camp and have 2,000 fans and all the bands staying in this summer camp. And we were in our room after we played, and some girl's like, I got to take a piss. And we're like, someone's in the bathroom. So she just pissed into a bucket in the, like a trash can in the thing. And then of course, our Matt was drunk and just was like, can't believe you did that. And starts chasing her down through this summer camp with the bucket of piss, trying to get it on her for pissing the thing. And it's funny because she started coming to shows a bunch, and of course she's known as Piss Bucket for like the rest of history.
I mean,
like,
that's
you are
nickname. You are
just Piss Bucket. Yeah, like there's no escaping that. So the legend of Piss Bucket. So
dude, and then I was just we did our show in Chula Vista, and Trent was the manager for Mushroom Head at the time, TMing. Back in the days when we were toured together, and he had video from before I was in the band of it was Jimmy and John and Matt and Brian, and they were singing like a Skid Row song in the dressing room.
That sounds about that's on point. Like because Skid Row is pretty much that was the tour bus like soundtrack back then. But that tour with Mushroom Head, that bill, Avenged Sevenfold, High on Fire, Shadows Fall, Mushroom Head. It was fucking bonkers, man. Like, dude, that was so insane. I
was so sad when I would hear the stories of that tour that I wasn't a part of. I was like, couldn't you guys got me 1 year earlier? Like, come on. Like, come on.
Dude, that tour was madness. I'll never forget. We were partying somewhere, and Jimmy was like, I'm going to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and gets in the van, and we're like, no, like, you should not. No, do not get in the van. Do not drive to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he pulls out of the venue down the street and the wrong way down a highway, like entry, like onto an exit the wrong way. So it just barreling down the highway the wrong way. And we're just like, oh, well, there he goes. Somehow, though, like 40 minutes later, he comes back with a big ass bag of KFC. So we're like, all right, man.
Everyone's stoked at that point because you got fucking food. I remember those days, dude. That was when you were searching for the Golden Arches because you only had a couple bucks to eat and you know to have a $1 menu.
No shit, exactly. Oh man, that tour, that was hilarious. But that was when Mushroom Head. If you opened for Mushroom Head, you knew you were gonna immediately like get bigger because that had happened with every band that they had open for them at the time. I think the tour before that was Lamb of God opening for them, and then before that was like I forget, like Kill Switch or somebody. So it was like you knew you were gonna immediately like have a bump, and Mushroom Head knew it too. They're like, God damn it. We're just going to break all these bands,
Hey, shout out to the guys in Mushroom Head.
Exactly. Thank you,
appreciate that.
Yeah. Watching, though, their crowd get so confused by High on Fire every night was amazing. Like, because High on Fire would just come out and just riff at them, and these kids are just like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm scared,
it's that slow, dredgy like riffage and stuff, and it's like stoner rock.
So rad, like, dude. And
it's so good,
shirtless
but like
Matt Pike just staring at them like, "Fuck you!" Like, I'm gonna fucking just hurt you with riffs. So great,
so good, man. Damn, dude. So real quick, how does it? I am curious about this Alvarez guitar stuff. So like. When you say you get to play them and then you're trying to sell them, is there a place where anyone watching this right now or listening to this and they're like, hey, I'd like to buy a guitar from fucking Brian from Shadows Fall?
Yeah, no, we sell to like, music stores and Amazon and Guitar Center and all that stuff. So yeah, I couldn't buy it direct from me, but that quality product, my friends. So yeah, it's great. But yeah, we just had a bunch of like new prototypes coming in the other day, and it's so funny because like we're all sitting there listening to all the specs and all the new stuff, and just like, yeah, please stop so we can play. Like just let's go. Like they're just sitting there. They're like, we just want to play. So, but it's a fun spot to work in because it's all musicians or people who are just in like guitar makers or whatever. So it's been cool. Still 9 to 5, still 9 to 5, but. These days, I don't know if Shadows Fall will ever tour full time again. I don't think so, but like it's fun to play again. But even the idea of just 8 weeks in a tour bus, just I don't know. I don't know if I got it in me anymore.
No, we decided on this cycle we ain't gonna go out for that long.
Yeah, no shit.
We're taking breaks.
That's what's nice when you can make some. It's also different now. It's not like before you would put out a record and it was touring cycle for a year and a half, and that's just the way it was. And if you didn't do that, it just didn't matter. Now it's the game's all changed. That's why even like with the new music we got, we're like, we don't even know how we're going to release it yet. If we're going to do it in just small chunks and EPs and then put it all together on vinyl at the end or whatever. There's so many new options. The whole cycle kind of got broken to pieces, which is nice because that was a grind, man. When you would like tour for a year and a half, have a few months to finish up a record and record, and then knowing that the tour dates are already booked for when you get out of the studio, it's just like, but I wouldn't trade any of that shit. It was a blast, but I don't know if I could get back on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, dude, it would be tough. I mean, even the longest we've been out now since we've been back for after 6 years was 5 weeks. And then at the end, I was like, all right, that was pushing it. That was pushing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been home for the holidays ever since. And we did mention that this is the day after Christmas. What does Christmas look like for you at the fair house there?
It's the kids still love it. It's funny. My daughter's teetering on the trying to do the specifics of how Santa could possibly do a whole worldwide trip in one night. But she's 10, so which is
okay.
That's about the age of when it happens. Well, she kind of understands geography better now, and starting to do the math on some shit. Also noticing that the wrapping paper we bought at Target is the same stuff that's wrapped by Santa, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a blast. So, it's with kids, it's changed everything. Whereas before Christmas was I was just hoping to chill out and rest and hang out with my parents or something. But now it's such a more fun thing, and we go all out. The upstairs is a winter wonderland. I just put there's a video on the Shadows Fall Instagram where I was just promoting the show in March in New Jersey, and we go through all the Christmas decorations with the Sinatra White Christmas in the background, So,
oh, dude, I gotta check that out. I was just looking at your Instagram a little bit ago, but I didn't look at the band's one, so gotta go back and look at that.
Yeah, all my promo videos are always never metal in any way, shape, or form. It's either me hanging out in the garden or doing Christmas shit. So
that's kind of the
gotta
best.
Keep it fun. Yep, gotta keep it fun. So, but yeah, man, Christmas around here is a blast. Kids make it so much fun. So we were out at there was a bunch of Christmas lights at the botanical gardens around here. So and it's been 60 degrees, so it's not even it's cold. So you actually can go out and do shit. So.
Oh, that's nice, man.
What are the kids asking for Christmas?
This was a PS5 year, so they got the big new system. They've been playing on a beat up PS3 forever. That every other day will decide not to work, so that they feel like they've stepped into the Matrix in the future. Just where just overload of graphics and new game options. So yeah, they're stoked. So. And honestly, I'm just gonna wait till they go to sleep so I can play all the games they're not allowed to.
There you go.
Yep. So it was a little, it was a little whole family gift there.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's a good one. Man, you nailed it though, man. The holidays with kids now, it's just I only have the one, and he's 6, and it totally. You relive the holidays again, like you said, for a long time as an adult, you enjoy it, but it's not the same. And then you have kids, and you're like, oh yeah.
And they get so stoked. Man. Yeah, you get to actually go out and shop for cool things instead, instead of just functional shit for adults,
Yeah, totally.
So much more fun to get the fun stuff. So
that's awesome. How about you, Sam? How was your Christmas?
Good. We unveiled we revealed Oz to my younger son who's 9. My daughter was keeping the magic going as long as she could. She's a very smart girl, but anything that we give her layups to try to figure it out herself, she would just make up some magic of why it happens. We're like, no, you're not getting it. But my son, on the other hand, from very early was like, this shit doesn't make sense.
This is not adding up.
He even once at Easter, I remember one year he goes to me and my wife, he goes, I really think that the Easter Bunny lives in China. And we're like, what do you mean? And he goes, because everything we get from the Easter Bunny has made in China on it. So I think that's where he lives.
That's amazing.
Brilliant. Dude, that's amazing. Destroyer, dude. I love that.
The Easter Bunny was the first one to go down for Arabella, for my daughter. She was finally there is no giant bunny doing this or whatever. And and I'm pretty sure she caught us putting eggs out in the yard and stuff, or we're trying to do it at 2 a.m, probably hungover. And so, but that was the first one to go but that is logistically the most ridiculous one. It's hard to, that's a tough sell, It's funny. The tooth fairy, I know she knows isn't real, but it's she's still trying to get that money. So she's whatever, man, I'm still going to, she knows it's my money, but she's going to still take it.
Well,
absolutely.
My daughter knows, but she goes, I still deserve money.
Yeah, exactly. My tooth fell out. You see that shit? That's crazy. My teeth are falling out of my face. Give me money.
Give me money.
Well, the going rate is cool. What's the going rate for your tooth fairy?
Well, we got screwed the first time it happened. I think the smallest thing I had was a 10. And I was just this is setting a precedent. So we left a note the next time, that's for the first tooth that's ever fallen out. There's a decreasing scale. Smart. And, so now we're down to a couple bucks, so.
Yeah, no, that's smart. We did the same thing. We went big on the first one, and then we told them, we're that the story is the first one's a big one, but you don't
first
get
one's
that
a big
much
one
every time.
Yeah, there's a lot of teeth, man. Right. Although right now my son Judah's in the stage where he has got 6 teeth, so he just looks like some hillbilly, who's just toothless dude. It's hilarious, man.
It's
last night he was seeing what he could fit through the space in the front. So he's got like a carrot, and then he's got like, you know, like all these things. It's just like, yep.
That's fantastic, man. Holidays are a beautiful time. But real quick, before we hit record, I remembered that you're a big old Boston Celtics fan.
Yes, indeed. And it's a good time to be a Boston Celtics fan the last few years again, after some really down years. But you got to understand, I was a Boston Celtics fan, born and raised. I lived through the Larry Bird, McHale, Parrish years. I was in the old Boston Garden and during the 86 championship run, you know, like I lived it and bled green. I had season tickets from 2000 till about 2016 when I was here in St. Louis and just finally had to get rid of them. And so I went through some lean years, like the Rick Pitino era and like all that, when they were winning 20 games a season. And then finally, when the big three came together, the original big three of Garnett, Pierce, and Allen, finally had a championship. My tickets were finally worth something again. So when I couldn't go, I could actually sell them for something. Before, I would have to give them away with like a 6-pack of beer, you know. But now we're back again. Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, amazing.
It's a great team. It's a great team. And
how the Lakers been doing since post in season tournament? You know, it seems, you put a lot of juice into that trophy that doesn't really mean anything. It's weird.
It means something. It was the first time, right, motherfucker?
Yeah. The banner will always be there. So
exactly, it's always gonna be. Hey, it's among all those other 17 championships. So I'm okay.
Hey man, cheers. Yeah.
Hold on. Before I cheers, I gotta grab my cup real quick.
Uh-oh.
I knew this was going to come up.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The Stein.
He's compensating for something. That's why it's so big.
Yeah,
but what am I compensating for? You don't really know. So yeah, this is one of my favorite mugs. The night Kobe's last game where he dropped 63 points. Me and my buddies were up here in the bar watching this. We filled this up with 1942 tequila. Don Julio.
Oh shit!
And every time he would score, we were taking pulls off of it going around.
Oh,
so this is
dude, that's almost like liver poisoning. Yeah, like level of scoring. You're like, really? You're gonna go out for 60 plus? Like, that's amazing. Though.
It was amazing. But yeah, I mean,
hey, what a way to go out though. That was amazing. Like for him just to go out and just like light it up like that one last time was amazing.
Well, like with all of his peers in attendance, they all knew it was his last game, so all of them were talking up to him. You know. Shaq came out. You better drop 50. You better drop 50. He's like, please. He's like, please.
Yeah. So amazing. So you have a big cup and all, but I got a full on cooler. So
Papa Fair on it too.
Papa Fair, because there's Little Fair. It's got the pink. It's got just a pink like circle around the Celtics instead. So me and my daughter got matching custom Celtics coolers when she was born. So
that's super cool. I can't. You know, I love the rivalry between the Lakers and the Celtics.
It's amazing. It's as good as it gets. Like,
it's
especially when they're both good teams. So.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of respect in it. When both teams are, like, going at it, it's a heated rivalry. Stems from, like, some really bad shit in the 80s. But, like, now it's just, like, a respectable rivalry for championships and for competition. So I don't hate the Celtics. I just, I
might still hate the Lakers. Not as much. No. It's funny. The Lakers will always be the main rivals, but now I like hate the Heat. You know, like where I'm like, because it's different. You know, whereas there is a respect with the Lakers and the Celtics, and there's all the history. Whereas the Heat are like this annoying like gnat around my team, where I'm just like, go away. Like, I can't stand you. And it's, and I got mad respect for like Jimmy Butler's style of game and how tough he is and all that. But they're the team that actually makes me angry. Whereas, the Lakers are still just like, that's our rival. I can't wait for get excited for the games. But now the Heat's like the nemesis more than like the rival.
Yeah. So I could see that. I could see that.
So I'll direct my hate that way.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Hopefully the Lakers, I loved how they played in the in-season tournament this year. They played great. That's the team that they need to be in the postseason. Yeah. And you saw flashes of it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. This is really cool. I would love nothing more in the next, year or two to see these two teams, the Celtics and Lakers, end up in the championship again somehow.
Oh, that would be amazing. And the NBA wants it too.
Oh yeah, they do. They know. They want that money.
They want that money. Yeah, they do. That would be insane, especially if LeBron's like, about to maybe retire in a year or two, and they make it to the final. That's as good as it gets for the NBA, you know?
Yeah, it would be absolutely epic, and I really hope
Which is insane that dude is the oldest dude in the league and is still averaging, you know, almost 30, and it's just fucking crazy.
Dude, so you must still hate him from when he was the Heat. So
yeah, I hate him from the when he was in a Cavalier. I hate him when he was on the Heat. But you can't. I mean, how do you not respect what LeBron has done? Like, and it's the classic, like, you know. Even if you hate on it, you're like, you can't actually hate on what he's done. You know, you're like, to have that amount of hype coming in. No one ever lives up to it, first of all, but to exceed it by like multiple levels, that's just insane. And to still be doing it, watching like all his boys are like out on the beach, retired, that he came up with, you know, and he's still dropping 30. Yeah.
Dude, and being the best player on the court most nights, like insane. It's insane.
It's insane.
I mean, for me, I was kind of a LeBron hater when I was younger, for sure. Because, you know, like,
it was hard not to, man. Yeah, but it was hard not to, like, because he was just everywhere, and you're like, and especially before he'd won anything, you're like, yeah, he's great, but what does it matter? And then the you know, going down to Miami and doing the whole press conference with pyrotechnics and, you know, not one, not two, not three, you know.
Hindsight, I actually really like that because it was fucking, like, it was a baller move.
Balls, man. It takes balls.
But at the time, I was like, fuck this guy. And then I was one of the Lakers fans that even when he came to the Lakers, I wasn't like in immediate celebration. I was like, okay, team's going to be good again, but let's see what LeBron can do.
Yeah.
He wins me a championship. I'll let all bygones be bygones. Like, he gives a fuck what I think. And,
exactly.
Then
but I can imagine as a Lakers fan, though.
I'm the biggest LeBron fan now. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
I can imagine at first, though, you're like, what's up, not Kobe? You know, like, welcome, but like, whatever, let's see. And then, like, but then, I mean, at this point, like, how can you not love everything he's done?
Everything that he's done for the Lakers, like, putting them back on where they're at, you know, and with Anthony Davis as well. Like, dude, that guy's, when he brings it, there's no one that could stop him, man. It's
no,
insane.
when he's on. He just occasionally decides to turn it off. That's the only
you know. You know, and I know
it's a long season.
It's a long season. I mean, hey, you got to take a couple of easy nights out on the road. I get it.
Exactly.
You can't party every night on the road, Brian.
Yeah. No, God, no, not anymore. Well, I tried. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Oh, it feels different. Getting back after. So, how long did you go without playing shows?
It was with Shadows Fall. It was 6 years. It ended up being the break, or 5.5 ish, because we were gonna come back right on about 5 years, but the pandemic hit. We had to like cancel our show until the next year, which we barely snuck our first reunion show in between another breakout. Where like, dude, everyone in that building, besides the band, caught COVID, like, at that show. It was COVID soup. Like, you just saw it flying through the air.
You threw a super spreader. You threw a super spreader. It's okay. We did one at the NFT at NYC too, like our Death Bat squad. They're all in the Discord. We're like, we're all sick, and we're like, sorry.
Sorry. Like, you know, and they shut everything down like literally the next week, you know, we're like, sorry. But so that had been the first time. And it's funny because, you know, to prepare for it, I never like worked out that hard. I was like fully like, if I'm doing this, like I used to just be in show shape from just being on tour. Right. And honestly, being younger, metabolism just keeps you where you need to be. And like, you know, always had that cardio from playing an hour a night and, you know, doing that. So I started like working out crazy, doing tons of like crazy high intensity interval training shit. Then I was away from the band, so I'm rehearsing either in my car on my way to work. So like people are at a stoplight, just hearing me sing "The Light That Blinds" at full volume, like just you know, veins popping, singing like in the car, and just be like, "Oh, hey, you know,
howdy neighbor." It's like one of your neighbors. You're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, totally. Sorry, like that dude's going through some shit. Like, what is happening here, man? Like, he is angry at the stoplight.
Yeah.
So, but then I would like start doing workouts where I just put the headphones on and sing while actually doing cardio to try and simulate that shit. Smart. And it's hilarious. I'm like, man, before practice, you know, to get warmed up for a tour, I was like, all right, you better get the liver, like, you know, ready for what's coming. And now instead I'm doing hours of cardio and core training and all this shit and, you know, drinking 2 gallons of water. And, you know, I was like, man, rock and roll has died.
No way, dude.
Nah, but it was worth it. I wanted to walk on that stage like Godzilla, man. I wanted to come out and fucking destroy. Plus, we were playing like an hour and a half after not having played for however long.
Yeah.
And people were traveling. I'm like, I don't want to, be winded. I want to just destroy this. And it was the best we ever played because they were rehearsing nonstop. And then I flew out right before and we did a bunch, and we never used to rehearse because we toured so much that we were just lazy when we get home. And we realized, like, we always did think like, oh, we don't need to rehearse, sound checks, rehearsal. And then after we rehearsed, we're like, we would have been so much better if we would have rehearsed all the time. We're like, what the fuck were we thinking? Like, we were so much better when we practiced. Like, who knew? Like,
Go figure.
We should have been doing that for 20 years. Like, it's crazy. So,
no,
oh well.
I asked about how long it was too, because I can empathize with that. Really, it's like we were gone for 5.5 years, and I did the same thing. I was like, oh, if I'm going back, I got to get my ass in shape, because as you said, like running around on the stage. Playing. This guy over here who's never played on stage ever, Sam the Hawk Hawkins, gives me shit. And I'm like, dude, I've got a 10-pound piece of wood I'm running around with
totally.
For 2 hours.
Plus, the adrenaline gets your heart rate up so high that just the tense, it drains you so much. But it's a blast. But if you aren't ready for it, it'll kick your ass. Oh,
absolutely. And we did long rehearsals to get into it.
How'd your voice from then to now? How does it hold up when you perform?
If anything, I've been smarter about it and was probably better prepared than I was. But what I was nervous about is when you're in show shape, man, it's an hour set. Just like it feels like totally normal. I was worried about like getting too excited in the first few songs and blowing shit out, or like just, going too hard. So, but luckily I sang so much before we went on. I was doing vocal warm-ups every day, months leading up to it, so it felt pretty good. And if anything, I'm smarter now with how I sing than I was in the early days, so that kind of helped. But I was definitely nervous. Like that first few songs, I hadn't really heard it loud yet. Like it was either in the car or like a couple rehearsals. So that first few songs, I was like, okay, it sounds like I thought it was gonna. It's like, oh, my voice came out, but I was worried there was just gonna be a cat. Just like this dust just pops out.
It's like the biggest, like a singer's like worst fear is just going to the mic and nothing comes out, right?
Totally. I never have stage fright about like playing a show. Crowd size doesn't matter. If anything, sometimes the smaller ones were more nerve wracking, but I'm always worried physically. Like if, because it's not like, oh, I can just kind of tweak the levels here on my EQ and or put on some new strings. I'm like, dude, if the voice is shot, it's shot, and you're just standing out there like this is you.
This is all you got.
Exactly. So,
oh man, that's why it's always tough. The singers got it tough, man. Singers got it tough.
But it felt good to go out and yell at some people for a while. That was the other thing I didn't realize. The shift from not touring, being in a band, for me, it wasn't even the like, oh man, I miss the pirate life and I miss all this stuff which I did. But to me, it was the outlet of like, dude, I got to scream at people for about an hour a night, every night for months at a time. And then all of a sudden that was gone. And all I had to yell at was my kids, and
it's a slightly different tone.
Yeah, totally. It's hilarious. If they know, it very rarely comes out, but if they hear the metal voice, they know they done fucked up. Like,
you use the metal voice on them?
Oh, it's very rare, but there's been times where they just hear me around the corner and they just know like, oh shit.
Could you imagine having the Shadows Fall voice yelling at you, Sam? To go clean your fucking room? Oh my God!
Exactly.
I would cry.
Yeah, and it's happened. So but you got to pick and choose your battles. You can't, you can't, fly too close to the sun that many times, or else it'll lose its effect. So
right, you got to keep that one. That's a back pocket. That's a back
But
pocket.
it did take me a while to adjust to not having that like outlet. Like I started skateboarding a bunch more again. I started exercising a ton just to get some of that out. Because it's such a cathartic thing. You don't realize it when you're doing it because it's just every day. But I was like, I'm literally screaming my thoughts at people who are sometimes screaming it back, and it's like this crazy dynamic that when it was gone, it took a little while to like adjust to not having that. Because I've been doing that since I was 15 years old when Overcast started, all the way through Shadows Fall, and now I'm like 2 years from 50, so that was all I knew. So, it's crazy.
Were your kids at the show, and did they get PTSD from their dad screaming when they were watching?
Yeah. They definitely were.
That voice.
Yeah, totally. It's funny because I was like, no matter what, you guys are coming to the show. I don't know how many more are going to happen. You have to know I was cool at least once in your life. You got to see this. And I look over, and Judah's got his big, earphones on to protect his ears, and he's got the double horns up. through the whole set, just standing there the whole time like this, and it was just
what a
awesome.
Cool feeling. What a
he
cool
is
feeling.
a total fucking metalhead, and it's not even like, granted, yeah, he hears metal from me listening to it, but he's into stuff I'm not even into. Like his favorite bands are Accept, Annihilator, and Manowar. Like he's full power metal, and it's hilarious, dude. It's hilarious.
And how old is he?
He's 7. So
that's rad.
Dude, literally, we're at this birthday party and everyone's taking turns on the Spotify, and it's like, you know, Shake It Up, you know, like Taylor Swift and like all this other stuff, and all of a sudden, dude, Warriors of the World by Manowar comes on at full fucking blast.
And you're like, yep, that's my son.
He's just sitting there with the sign of the hammer up, just like, yes, like.
And you're at the gathering too, so everyone
just like literally like, sorry, like, yeah, like it's what he's into, man. I was like, you know,
swear I had no influence on this.
I'm surprised you didn't ask for a sword and a loincloth for fucking Christmas this year, you know.
So good, dude, so good. I want to get back to those first shows back, because that, like, I know what you're talking about because I just did it too. It's just like getting back into that shape for it. The real thing is all that preparation. There's another mental aspect of it that you have to have too. Like you said, like you've been away from this outlet for so long. Now you get it all rushed back. And like, you know, those first few songs, like we were telling ourselves, like, take it easy.
Pace.
Because you have to pace yourself. Because you're about to get all of that adrenaline that you haven't seen in 5.5 years plus, all at one time. And it's going to be a different feeling. Like I remembered it about like pretty quick in. I was like, oh yes, okay, cool. I got this. Like,
take a breath. Like here we are. This is
what I was supposed to be. This is what
I found my rock stance. Like I found the stance. I'm
it's still there. It's still there.
It's still there. Yeah. I swing the head around. Like, all right, cool. Head didn't fly off. Still doing it. Still goes. You know.
Dude, the headbang is like. I will say though, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, how much longer am I going to be able to throw my fucking head around like that?
Dude, I look at like this stuff swinging this thing around.
Speaking of like throwing weight around,
this shit around,
that
dude.
Shit's how have you ever weighed your hair to see how much?
You know, I sort of. I was at the vet, and you know how they have those like raised like scales for the dog.
Yeah.
There's nothing on it, so I'm like, shit, just throw it all. It was all in a big braid, and I just threw it on there, and so it's hard to get it exact, but it was over a pound. Which people are like, that doesn't seem like that much. I'm like, dude, for hair, it's insane. Like, no, most hair is like fractions of a gram. You know, like there's nothing. You know, it's like it's nothing. So yeah, my neck hates. It's got to be. I'm 6 feet. It hits the ground, so it's got to be 6 feet. I've had to start. Where if I can find one here, this fucking mess.
And how old is the longest piece?
All right, so yeah, this is 1993 right here.
What?
Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So like right here.
Hey.
So yeah, I've had to start tying some knots in the end because it was just dragging on the ground. So I just was like, I'll just tie it up. I can't cut it. If I cut it, I'm cutting it all. So I don't trim it.
Do you think that'll ever happen? Do you think that'll ever happen?
Yeah,
I mean, I've only ever known you to have hair like that.
Yeah,
so.
I've always joked on it. As soon as I figure everything out, I'll cut my hair. So I plan on just dying wrapped in like a cocoon of my own dreads, you know, because I still don't know anything.
No, no one knows anything. That's what you figure out. Everyone's like when you're kids, when you're younger, you're a young adult, you're like, I'm gonna figure this shit out and everything. And then you get to a certain age, you realize there is nothing to figure out.
There's nothing to figure out. It's all just enjoy it because it's all a fucking joke on all of us, you know.
Oh, it totally is, dude.
Very cruel joke, but
very cruel.
But yeah, man, dude, the headbanging thing though, I was nervous about that because on tour, my neck would be so used to it. Yeah, it would be sore, but it was just like broken in the right way, you know, like,
right,
and lubricated.
You get sore like at the first show of the cycle,
and then you get the little bang over, and then you're fine. Once you get through that, you're good, and you know. And I do pick and choose the battles now, or like I'm always like, oh, I'm not gonna headbang as much, and then you're like, and you're like, I mean,
you feel
there's nothing else to fucking do. You know, like, it's a thrash riff. Like, what am I gonna not? I just stand there like.
You know, especially as a singer, like during a riff,
yeah,
like,
I got nothing in my hands, you know. Yeah, I'm just like, and the other thing that's funny is it's such a crutch too. Like, what do? I don't know. Just and then the strobes hit, and I can do the halftime, you know, and it's like,
hey,
you know,
that's a fucking skill, man.
But what I didn't realize is it had grown to the point where I had to, if I wanted to do a full thing where it's not hitting the ground, I have to stand on an ego riser now, you know, because otherwise I'm just sweeping one spot on the stage, so it's just like shiny. like in this like little 4-foot area, like right in front of me, where it's just been like waxing
the stage guys love when you guys come to town.
So, dude, and
like, hey, can you just go over there and do that, and then over here again, and then over there?
They love it because any bits of duct tape or like little dust bunnies, they're all just gonna get stuck in this. So I'll just pick it all up. So like it's fine.
Do you have a horrible story where they got caught on something or it pulled you down or anything?
Yeah, I do. And my wife still laughs about it to this day. So I was doing yard work in my backyard and I had the weed whacker out. So, and normally I do tie up my hair or put it in a big hat that looks like the world's biggest hacky sack, you know, but this time I was like, whatever, man, I'm just flying around the yard, got the weed whacker and I'm going, and I borrowed it from her dad, who his name's Big Jim. He's like 6'5", super intimidating dude, awesome dude, but like he's Big Jim. So I got his like very expensive new weed whacker and I'm plowing away and all of a sudden dude, it just stops dead. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, what, how did I break it? And I looked down and one of my dreads had gotten sucked into the air intake of the motor part. So it's not wrapped around like the blade or anything like that. It's stuck into the thing. And I'm like, and I realized I'm like, holy shit. And I'm stuck in it. Like, so I'm like, it's stuck in there and I'm trying to pull it. It's not coming. And I yell up to my wife who's up in the window. I'm like, you got to get some scissors. I'm stuck. My hair is stuck in the weed whacker. And I've never seen anyone laugh so hard in my life, where she just couldn't even come down to help. She's like, I can't even physically move. Your hair is stuck in the weed whacker.
Could you imagine if
that sentence shouldn't be ever said? You know, like,
no.
Come help me. My hair is stuck in the weed whacker.
Sam, could you imagine like your significant other like that something similar? You wouldn't be able to do anything. Like
our wives look for stuff like that to make fun of us for.
I look for stuff in my wife to make fun of her.
It was her shining moment. She's like amazed. So, but here's my thing. I'm like, you know what? Laugh all you want as soon as we cut this out. And if this thing works again, this is hilarious. If I'm going to Home Depot and buying a $2,000 weed whacker to replace it for your dad, then this shit is not funny at all. So,
at least for 5 years, and then it'll
at least exactly. So she comes down with the scissors. I cut the hair out, and I'm like, it won't fire up. And I'm looking, and there's just hair wrapped all inside. So she brings me a crochet hook, and somehow I like got in there and I yanked out the hair, pulled the thing, and it shoots out all this other hair balls. And then fired up, and I'm like, okay, now this is the funniest thing that's ever happened. So
that's how we get it.
Wait, though. How did Big Jim feel about this?
Yeah, well, I came over there with it already running, and I was like, I got a funny story for it. But he saw it work.
Yeah, already running, so smart. That is so smart.
He already had it running, and it was like, I got a funny story for it. And he was losing it. And it's funny because I put that up on the Shadows Fall Facebook, and it got more likes and responses than anything we'd ever put on there ever. You know, like new music, don't care. New video, don't care. Your hair gets stuck in what? You know, it's like nonstop engagement.
Doesn't that show you exactly what social media is?
It's 100%. That's what I learned.
It's the same way, dude.
Okay, well, that's what I knew what they wanted. I was like, okay, now I know what you want. You just, okay. You want the ridiculous, dumb shit. And the other thing that now the hair, my biggest nemesis is car doors, where I'll like take a step away, close the door, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, whiplash. Like I'm, one dread is just stuck in the bottom. And not only does it like hurt and like kind of freak you out, you look around in the parking lot and everyone's just dying, and you're like, there's no cool way to play it off, because you have to turn around and be like, boop, boop, and like unlock the door, open it, pull it out, and just kind of wave like, yeah.
See, people don't talk about the rock star side of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. See, like, your hair's cool. I'm like, no, it's a safety hazard. There's nothing cool about it. It's just a menace. So I wish I could train it to do shit like, like pickpocket people and stuff, like or at least grab stuff for me, like off the counter. But no, it just gets in the way. So.
Dude, that's so awesome. Fucking funny. I'm so glad you told that story. Because those are the good stories, Sam, where you could like
might be a Drinks with Johnny exclusive. Yeah, that might be a Drinks with Johnny exclusive. I don't know if I've told that on any other interviews. So there you go.
Love it. Love it, man. Speaking on wiping the floors with your hair and getting back on the shows, I saw you guys announced you're going to be on Welcome to Rockville in 2020.
Yes, Welcome to Rockville, man. Yeah, very excited about that. The bill's just one of those bonkers, like every band ever, you know, from Motley Crue to, you know, everyone in between, Judas Priest, everybody, you know, so that's going to be killer. The festivals have been a blast for us because it's kind of like getting to get back into like the high school reunion vibe of like seeing everybody that you were used to seeing all the time. Because, you know, when you're on the touring circle, not only do you like cross paths, but those festivals, it's where everyone gets to see each other. And, you know, so it's been a blast to get to do those and to only have to play for 35 or 40 minutes, you know, is always nice too. Yeah, you get because we've mostly been doing headlining stuff. So
right, and you get like the, you know, here's our hits, and I'm off the stage.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that should be a blast. We have that booked, and we have a headlining. It's the 20th anniversary of The War Within, so we're doing that album in full in New Jersey in March. So those two shows are all that's on the docket, but I think we've got some stuff for the fall and winter that are about to get like locked down too. So I think we're going to keep it to like 5-6 kind of things a year. And it really depends on the offer. Like things like, you know, like Headbanger's boat with Lamb of God came up and we're like, getting on a boat with Lamb of God, Mastodon, God forbid, and everyone else were like, yeah, Hatebreed. We're like, yeah,
it doesn't even matter.
We'll do that in a second. Like, I don't even care. We don't need to see the offer. I'm like, yep, nope, we're doing that.
That's a paid vacation with friends.
1,000%.
I saw you posting about that, and I was like, I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to ask.
I want to hear more.
I've never done a cruise before, so like, what?
Dude, I've never even been on one before. I've never even been on a cruise because normally vacation wise, I would normally rather go somewhere, set up shop, and like just chill there and explore it and learn it. You know, wouldn't want to necessarily go on a boat, but this way, like it was a smaller cruise ship, which is, you know, still thousands of people, but to have that many like-minded people, so many bands that we were like family with, you know, these are some of our bands we go the furthest back with. To take a trip to the Bahamas is like the craziest thing ever. Dude, it was a blast. I mean, Lamb of God did it right though too. It was so well thought out. It was so well done. Everyone had so much fun there. There was unfortunately a tragedy of someone going overboard, which did happen. Like it was pretty fucking intense. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like that's
crazy to happen on any cruise, but
on any cruise, like yeah. So it was 3 a.m. All of a sudden the boat takes a sharp like U-turn, and we're like, whoa. Me and my wife woke up, and you look out and you see the like searchlights and shit. It was like, whoa, what is going on? And they started doing the announcement, but it does. I don't. They haven't really come out with why exactly, but I don't think it might have not been an accident per se, as far as it might have been more of just a sad situation, but I don't really know the details.
It's
so I don't want to
like way, of course,
send rumors, but yeah, but it was tough, but especially after like literally 3 of the funnest days, 5, you know, that we'd have ever had. And so that last day kind of had a somber sort of vibe over it, but luckily it was like, we're all here together to kind of get through something crazy. And, you know, and
the rest of how many days was there after?
It was the last day. So
okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
That would have been pretty tough to address if you had another day of shows to do.
Without a doubt. So it was pretty crazy in general, but so it was sad that they had that kind of tagged onto an event that otherwise was just so perfect, and it wasn't, you know, it was beyond anyone's control kind of thing. So, but yeah, so that was a bummer. But before that, it was awesome.
Yeah, before that, it looked like a lot of fun. I mean, like you said, you were out with all the boys. I saw you take pictures with Jesse and Doc.
Yeah,
Jesse
almost ended up in boat jail. They have a boat jail just in case you're ever on a cruise ship and know like, oh, what are they going to do, man? I'm out in the ocean. You're like, no, they're going to put you in boat jail. So we were playing, and all of a sudden he just jumped up on stage, you know, hardcore kid style, jumped on my head and started singing and all this. And the security guards didn't know who he was. You know, they don't know where this dude just ran out of the crowd and jumped on top of me. And so they're like, all like, you know, on the earpieces, like, we're going to get that guy. We're like, no. He's cool. Like, so my wife actually kind of saved Jesse from going to boat jail by telling the security guy, like, no, man, he's cool. Like, you know, it's all good. So, although we should have let him sweat it out for like a couple hours in boat jail.
Yeah,
you know,
been funny.
Also to tell us what boat jail was like. You're like, what's it like, man? You know, like what really goes on?
That's a good call. I would like to know.
Are you like underneath the motor? Like, they hide you down in the gully? You know, like what's it like? You know. So, but luckily, he avoided boat jail. I don't know if everyone did, but he avoided boat jail. So
that's good. That's good.
But yeah, dude, it was a blast, man. It was crazy. And
did Doc do a podcast there?
Yeah, I believe he did. So, and I think Jamie Josta did the Josta pod too there as well.
We should bring it Drinks with Johnny to one of those. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Dude, if you get the chance for the cruise, man, especially like that was a smaller one. I know some of them have like 1 billion bands, and that seems a little crazy. This one was the perfect amount of bands. I think it was like 12 or 13 bands or something, you know, where they had 4 different stages, and one of them was like out on the pool deck. So like when we pulled away, literally you're watching Miami disappear behind you as the sun setting, and municipal waste is just playing like on a pool deck. And it's just like, this is the coolest shit ever, man. You know, like just like heading off to sea like a bunch of pirates while munisipal waste is just playing like the art of partying, you know, like
that is,
do you guys get privacy at all though with it? Or
as much as you would want, if you know, like the cat, you are kind of commingled, you know, like but there was an artist lounge that was you could get food 24 hours almost, you know, like there was spots if you wanted to get away, but I mean, I was in the casino bar or like on the pool deck the entire time hanging out. So nice. Yeah, I wasn't trying to find privacy. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, needless to say, I take it the family was, well, you said your wife was there.
It was just my wife. Yeah, no, I was. I think a few people had brought kids. I think you could if you wanted to, and I was like, sorry, kids.
No, you're like, no, I'm going to go on a rage boat right now.
Yeah, exactly. So
you don't want to see daddy like this.
Yeah.
No, I don't get to let my hair down, as they say, as often as I used to. So I was like, nah, man, daddy's going on vacation. So, yep.
That's a hell of a way to vacation though, man.
Yeah, totally, man. It was perfect. So that was cool. That's the thing. That's the kind of, those are the type of shows, or obviously we're not going to always be able to get to go to the Bahamas with our friends, but like we've been picking and choosing based off of like, man, that just seems like too much fun to say no to. That's what's kind of nice too, without having the pressure or the agenda of like a full-time kind of thing going on. It's nice to be able to pick and choose your battles. Whereas before, you know, it was just, you got to do what you got to do to keep the boat floating. Now we're like, man, whatever, man. We just dropped the boat in for the weekend.
Dude, it's brilliant. I mean, that is kind of the thing though. Like as you get even different levels, I guess, but like coming back after a while, like we've been talking about, where we have that similarity where we took time off and getting back to it, having the new perspective after being home for so long, and not just the repetition as you talk about cycle album, you do kind of take that perspective with you and go, well, what is important to me? Like, yeah, I could go make the money. Like before we talked about, like when you're younger, you're like trying to figure it out and you're just trying to grab all the money that you can because you think that's what it's all about. Then after you have kids and you have this time off, it really, for me anyways, I don't know if you could feel the same way, but for me it was like, this new perspective is like, yeah, there's some places that we haven't been in a long time, and you look at the budgets and it's like, yeah, you're not really going to make money, but it's like, fuck it, man, we haven't been there in a long time. Like, you can't, you know, and let's make it you know, if we're not going to make money, let's go make it a paid vacation or whatever, you know, like figure out a way to make it work for you and your family. It's not all about the money. It's about having fun while doing this, man. You get a little jaded out there. I don't know about you, man, but like, totally
100%. That was why I stopped touring. I started realizing I was like, I'm out here because it's my best financial option, like to work, you know, and it was also, I was like, this is what I do. I didn't even, you know, been so long, but I was definitely jaded. And I was starting to realize, like, man, if I can't get up for a show that is like a sick show, because I just like, punch the clock, get out there and do it. I was like, this is tough, you know? And I was missing the kids. Like when my daughter was born, we were still in like 10 months out of the year tour mode, you know, like 8-10 months out of the year. And I missed a lot. And I was in Bulgaria, I remember, on this Metal All-Stars wacko weird tour that happened. And I was watching her crawl for the first time on Skype, sitting with Joey Belladonna, which was funny enough, you know, from Anthrax. So I was like cheering her on, like, yeah, go.
That's kind of cool. Like, I mean, that's a cool experience.
It was pretty awesome. But at the same, it made me realize, like, wow, I am missing a lot, you know. And when Judah was born, I was like, all right, at this point, if we would have been millionaires and this was the best way to literally create a future for them, then I probably would have kept going. But I was like, well, no, I'm going to make the same amount of money that I could at a job at home and be there and be present and not just doing this because it's way more fun than a regular job, you know, like, but like I'd be gone so much and it wasn't worth it at that time. And Paul, our bass player, just had a kid and was having the same thoughts. And we were just kind of like, you know, and John had joined Anthrax, and we're like, we didn't want to start bringing in fill-in guys, and which we had our friend Felipe filled in when John couldn't a few times, and he was an amazing player and it was awesome, but we were kind of like, it's starting to happen. And I see it with metal bands where all of a sudden they're just like rotating dudes, and it's like one guy and 4 other people, and then just just touring musicians, and we're like, that wasn't who we were. We were 5 dudes, you know, who'd been the same core members for 20 years, and we're just like, it's just starting to fizzle. And we're like, it was time for me to go home. And it made me very excited to play again now. Whereas if we would have gone back out a year later, I would have probably hung it up for good. You know, I would probably been like, nope, you know, I ruined it, you know, like, so I'm glad we took that time, and it gave people a time to be excited to see us again. And when we, you know, kind of felt that as well, all right, you know, people were actually interested in what we did and want to hear it again in a way that felt very like welcoming, and like we felt that kind of energy. So the timing seemed right. So, and now that's the thing. Like I said, we don't want to burn that out, and we want to keep the vibe kind of the way it is, where all of these shows are special by breaking them up and all that. So we'll see what's next. But that happened where it's, you know, 25 years on the road. It was just the kind of like, it's time to come home.
Yeah. You know, you need that breather sometimes, man. It just, and you don't need it's one of those crazy things though, mentally, where you don't realize you need that breather. You don't know why you're feeling the way that you are until you've done it, until you've taken that break. I
didn't realize how burnt I was out, and physically, I was physically beat up, like between just my neck and my back, and like I was having chronic shoulder issues, and just realizing they're all just related from just beating the shit out of myself every night, and then sleeping in a tour bus bunk, and doing all that. So some of that was by not doing the right things and not taking better care of myself. And that's one of the things I also look back on too. I'm like, all right, there were things I could have done differently. I wish I would have done more touristy stuff and gotten out and about and traveled more and experienced some of those cities. And like, it's hindsight, but now when I go out to these places especially places I've never been, I'm like, I'm going to see everything I can in the time I'm there and make the most of that. Whereas before I was probably waking up at 2 PM and stumbling over for sound check, and then rinse and repeat the next day.
Dude,
so.
two's a good number. You're waking up early, man. I was getting up till 4. But
I don't know about you. I was a bad bus sleeper where I didn't sleep well when we were moving, so I would be up most of the night hanging out, and then I'd pass out as soon as we parked.
That's funny you mentioned that. I never used to be. I could sleep anywhere, anytime, from, even back in the van days, like when we would just lay out like sardines on the floor in the van, and all that. Like, I was always a really good sleeper. This last couple of runs, though, like after being home in a real bed for so long.
It doesn't move,
it doesn't move. It took me a few nights, and each time, because we were spacing it out, as I said, so much that each time it's a few nights where I'm like, and then I absolutely love, again, sleeping on the bus. I like that movement. I don't know what it is, but that's my jam.
Yeah, I'm just something that was always tough for me. So that was the other thing. So I was working through insomnia most of the times too. It's not a healthy lifestyle to begin with on the road, and then put in not sleeping on top of it and all that. So, but now older, wiser.
That's the thing. That's the other thing, though. You mentioned those things. Where you're like, oh, I probably could have taken better care of myself back then, and so now you've got that new perspective where you do, you try to make sure you're doing those things while still having a few good drinks with some good buddies.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly. You got to balance it out. I mean, life's all about balance.
You gotta have a yin to that yang. You gotta have a yin to that yang.
Exactly. So it's funny because I've really been focused on, fitness and working out, and even thinking about getting into personal training and all this stuff. And it's funny because it's such a difference than where I would have been at 10, 15 years ago,
Dude, when you and I were on the road, there was no maybe Matt would work out every once in a while, but no one else did.
Yeah, totally. We were the same way, and now it's hilarious, dude. Our dressing room looks like a yoga studio and smells like Tiger Balm. Whereas, before it just smelled like whiskey and shame.
Dude, our latest assistant, Sarah, is amazing, and she's also a masseuse. So because you get those crampies, dude. No matter how much water and electrolytes you get, you cramp up on stage sometimes. So you got to work it out before. and the Tiger Balm and like the CBD oil. She's got a good CBD oil that I like.
There you go.
This is what happens now, Sam. Remember when you used to come out to my shows and I was partying? I ain't partying like that anymore.
So, do the Rolling Stones go through this, or are they still exactly?
No, they're
the
just
same?
way cooler than us, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Like, I mean,
Yep.
I'm sure they did. I mean, I know Maiden. I mean, all the bands that have taken us out on the road, like Maiden, Metallica. Those guys,
we got it with David Ellison. We got to talk about. That's the reason why this all came together too.
Oh, that's right. Because
that's right.
You guys, we were talking about what would possibly be the next big four if there was.
Yep.
And Dave threw your guys' name into that.
Yeah, I was stoked on that, man. That was cool. Dave's a good dude, man. I did the Headbangers Con with him, and it was the first time I really got to hang out with him for a few days and kick it. So, and Megadeth, like, Rust in Peace will still go down as probably the most perfect metal album of all time in my world. It's a great one, man. It's a fucking great one. So it was cool when I saw that little quote. I was like, I had to drop a little comments on there. So, and then here we are. Look at that.
Look at that. And it all comes back.
The magic of the internet. The magic of the internet.
Dude, real quick though, I keep looking at this this painting you got there behind you. What is that?
Oh, dude, this is me and Chuck Billy from Testament. We did a Rebel Meets Rebel for Revolver, where I interviewed him.
Oh,
and this
right. I remember when Revolver. Did they say
this artist in Australia drew that and sent me a print of it, and I was stoked. So, because dude, to me, Chuck was like a huge vocal influence because I was a total thrash metal kid, hardcore kid, but he had a voice that was melodic and catchy, but still sounded tough. Right. You know, it wasn't like operatic. It wasn't like, super clean and soaring. It was just like tough, but it had hooks, like, right. So Chuck was just a huge influence. So to get to interview him and sit down with him and all that was amazing. So yeah, it's a painting of us like smoking a peace pipe, and then the smoke is forming like a globe. And I'm just like, dude, when I saw that, I was like, that is the most perfect thing possible.
It's a good looking, that's a good looking painting, man. Shout out to the artist, man.
And then I have our famous, the Shadows Fall half gold plaque there when we hit 250. When we hit 250,000, Century Media made us a fake half gold.
I have never seen that before.
Because there's no such thing. So it's literally just a half. We're almost there. Oh, so close.
I want more. I want one of those more than anything else I have.
So awesome.
I want a half gold for sure.
It was hanging up at Planet Z where we recorded with this guy Zeus, and Jamie from Hatebreed saw it, and he just thought it was the funniest fucking thing ever. So he made like the legend of the half gold record. So I'm like, there it is, man.
So good. That is so good.
And it was creeping towards, getting gold later on. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty happy with the half. Like, it's
cool. No one go out and stream that record anymore. We got to keep it at half.
So funny.
No, seriously, go stream that record. Get him the gold.
No, go buy it. I'd like a gold record, please.
Yeah.
No. Man, yeah, it's my little ego corner behind me that my wife put up, because I never put up any of the Shadows Fall stuff. I'm so bad about like even collecting half of it that like she'll find these things in like a drawer somewhere, or like in a old like box I have up in the attic, and she's like, well, how do you not have these things out and about? I'm like, I don't care.
It's the same way. I'm the same way. Like we did our house remodel 8 years ago, and we had an interior designer come in that was actually my wife's like second cousin or whatever. And she was like, no, you have to put those up. You have to put those up. And I was like, I don't know. They won the battle and they're up in my house, but like,
there you go.
It's cool. Part of me is like, that's cool. But it's also like when people come over, am I also like, this looks a little douchey,
I don't think so. I grew up with cribs, and that was always the coolest thing when you walk in and you just see like the wall
all
of
the gold.
Shit.
Yeah, but you know that cribs is bullshit. They didn't actually have that up most of the time. They came in and staged the shit out of those.
They rented all those houses and shit.
Well, I heard Method Man like totally fucked with them, and then went to a shitty house just to pretend like it was his house. And
I think it was the Red Man one. I think it was Red Man. Red Man.
Red Man.
His cousin was sleeping on the floor, and they had the dollar shoebox, just $1 bills, like spare change and shit.
That's fucking brilliant.
That's the way to do it, man.
That's the coolest cribs ever.
I did a similar thing. Revolver did this thing. It was short run called Rock Stars in Their Cars, and the first few were like, Travis Barker and like some crazy tricked out Cadillac and all this stuff. And then they had me, and I had an '86 Corolla, and it was like covered in. I didn't wash it, so it's covered in pollen and dust, and it has like plastic, you know, like rims, and I did all the photos though, like all the like, you know, next to the rims, and my radio is literally one of those cassette adapters plugged into a Discman, and like, you know, like,
no,
like,
dude, so, yeah. Those were
and
the
it was the best photo shoot I've ever done. I was like, this is perfect.
How did you even still have that? How did you even?
Yeah, I do. It was like some beater car because I was living in Boston. I'm like, I don't need a car. My like mom gave me an old one, you know, and yeah, so they came out. I remember we're in this parking lot, and the security guy comes up to see what we're doing, and we tell him like, oh, we're just doing a quick photo shoot with this car, and he's like, and you didn't even wash it? And I'm like, nah, man. I was like, this is perfect.
You don't get it.
Yeah, totally. Like, why would
you peep the
car?
Cassette adapter? Like that should tell you enough.
So
right
great.
I mean, there's people watching and listening to this don't even know what a cassette
wouldn't even know what that
let
thing
alone
is.
a cassette adapter, which actually, kids at home, there was a cassette tape, just like the ones that you can still probably get every once in a while. Some bands are bringing those back. I don't know if you've seen that too. We did a cassette run as well. But yeah, you had a cassette deck in your car, and you put that in there, and there was I was going to say the 1/8-inch cord, but to make it easier, headphone jack, coming out of it, that then you plugged into your CD Walkman, and that was how you listened to your favorite CD in the car.
That's how we rocked. Yep, indeed. So that was great, man. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm bringing out all the bling. Yeah,
that's so good.
Hey, what did you graduate? I heard you went to college. What was your major?
I graduated from Boston University with a degree in modern literature, and I had a concentration in photo and journalism. I was originally a photojournalism major. And the first week, they're like, yeah, we don't have a digital photo lab yet. And that's where everything's going. So everything we're going to teach you is very helpful to learn about the basics of photography. But like, you're not going to use any of it. Like, you know, so awesome. My first assignment was a 5 a.m. court report where I had to go to a courthouse at 5 a.m. and do the minutes or whatever. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe this isn't the major for me. So I switched to literature after that. So. But Boston University was the best, man. It was like, I had a blast. Education wise, I did what I needed to do and I got my degrees, but I was there mostly just to like have a good time and kick it.
Nice. Yeah, but that's interesting though. Cause you started, music when you were 15, as you already said. And then you
even before that, but that's when I started really playing like,
right.
Yeah. So, cause Overcast started, I was 15, me and Mike D, who's, you know, in Kill Switch Engage. We started that band in 1990. Yeah, and I just turned 15. He was, I think, 17. He had a car. You know, he could drive. Yeah. Our drummer, I think, was 14 at the time. So, and then that band went on for like 8 or 9 years. And then I literally joined Shadows Fall. The day that our last show of Overcast, Matt from Shadows Fall was on the side of the stage asking me to join the band as there's still like feedback ringing out from our last song. I'm like, bro, let me like change my shirt and like and take a breath and like put to rest something that I just put almost a decade of my young life into, you know, and then we can talk. And of course I was like, well, yeah, I want to join. So, you know. Yeah.
Well, that's right. So I guess my question there though, so you're with Overcast and you're going to college at the same time?
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So it was breakneck, man. I was going to class, working a few nights a week, and then playing hardcore shows every weekend, sometimes as far as like, you know, to DC from Boston or Virginia or something and back. And it was insane. But I mean, when you're young, it doesn't matter. You know, like you can do it.
Yeah, you have all the energy for that kind of hustle. I mean, that's
totally.
It's an impressive hustle, man. Like,
dude, and Overcast tours were fucking brutal, man. Like that was OG like hardcore tours where, you know, we have in one of the re-releases, there's a picture that Mike D had of our tour itinerary, and next to it was the money we made at each show, and it would be like $48, $13. $200, like holy shit, $0, $0, $38. Like it's fucking crazy. Wow. And it's funny because people see bills from back then. They're like, wow, Overcast, Converge, Cave In, that must have been insane. I'm like, dude, it was in a place called the Barn because it was an actual barn and there was 30 kids there.
Dude, some of the shows that we did together, even on like some other tours, I remember we did like a Shia Lude thing together and stuff like that, and that was literally like it was like an abandoned church or something, I want to say.
Yeah.
And they had like a trough of our what do you call it? Our rider was just a
rider.
Trough.
Yes, dude.
And I was like, but they got us everything. That's why I remember that place. I don't remember what it was. I probably should. But we were on the show and like they got us everything. And everyone on the tour was like, wait, because if you remember, like back in those days, we would send in a rider, Sam, and it would be like you send everything that you want, but you see what you get. And they usually
and you might as well shoot big.
First.
You might as well shoot big because you're like if there's some of the places would actually get you everything occasionally, and you just be shocked to see all this stuff. But sometimes you're like, here's a 6-pack of Heineken and 2 waters. Yeah.
yeah, and then you'd be okay with that. But like most of the time, you're like, but you'd send every once in a while, you get the promoter that like actually read the entire rider and like down to like. The one thing that we were always like shooting from the hip on was like packs of cigarettes at the time. I was younger, I smoked and stuff. I was like, they actually got me my Marlboro Reds. Are you fucking kidding me?
I got my Reds. That's great, man. Dude, those early days, it was such a different thing. Like, because even the circuit was like building itself then, and promoters were starting to fall into place, and booking agents were actually like booking bands like us. But like, it was still like growing and small. And it's crazy how fast it became so established and got bigger and bigger. And like, it was crazy. Like that time, from like 2000 to 2003, it was like from playing VFW halls to playing Ozfest. It was just happened so fucking fast.
Right.
And it was crazy. But what was great is you saw a lot of bands who had earned it though. Who were like, man, we've all been playing these same shitty shows together, and like to all end up like on those festivals and on that stuff. It was like, all right, at least I know we all put in the blood, sweat, and tears to get here. So it was cool to see happen to everybody.
So I researching this, I listened to, shout out to our network mate, Doc Coyle's podcast, Axeman.
I don't think you're supposed to say network mate. I got made fun of for calling it a network mate.
I know, but that's why I keep saying it because it's so fun. Yeah, Johnny got called a boomer by saying that.
Boomer. You got hit with the boomer. That's great.
But first, I want to just set you up for a thing. Chad from Chad from Then Bane, right? Was that now Newfound Glory?
Oh yeah, I know he was in Shai Hulud then. Yeah, he was in Shai Hulud.
Because I was gonna say, because was Bane back then? That was one question.
They were. What's funny? Bane was around forever. I still have their first demo. It was like a side project from Converge. Like Aaron who's the main guitar player. He was playing in Converge, and then he started Bane with Aaron, the other Aaron, the singer. He was in a bunch of classic Boston hardcore bands, like kind of Western Mass Boston. There was Backbone and like all this other shit. And then they formed Bane out of that. But yeah, it's crazy because Chad though sang for Shai Hulud, and he was 15 at the time. And it was a tour. It was Overcast, Shai Hulud, Disembodied. And, it was that was the tour with the money from each show. So, and we were sitting there, and I remember he played me a cassette of, he's like, just jokingly, he's like, this is my $1 million band. He's like, this is my band that's going to sell 1 million records. And he put in, it was early Newfound Glory demos. And then 5 years later, they're at a platinum record or whatever. I'm like, holy shit. Like, you fucking
Kid
did
wasn't lying.
Yeah. I was like, look at that. So, yeah.
But that leads into the question I have. So you're an East Coast guy, and I'm always curious because you're a punk guy, right? You grew up in skate and punk and things like that. But East Coast was more like Madball and like more hardcore, right? Is that what you grew up? So it's weird to hear Newfound Glory is more like the California sound.
More, Newfound Glory definitely sounds more California.
Very California, yeah. But that's what that's what he was like. Yeah, I'm doing this thing. Whereas his voice in Shai Hulud was brutal, and it was way more like gruff and low. And so to him kind of shift gears like that, because the scene I grew up in the early Boston days, the hardcore shows I went to when I was like 14, 15 were bloodbaths, like legit scary shows. You would go to this place called the Channel in Boston that was like overlooked the harbor where the water's right there, and you like right through these windows you're looking down, it would drop right there. And these shows, people were dancing with hammers, like straight up, like it was fucking insane. Jeez. But like there was also like a respectfulness of like I was a little kid stage diving, and they would love it. They make sure you're all good, and like they'd see you at shows and like know you're like down. And but it was like different. Like whereas hardcore shows now are still fun, but the element of fear has kind of died down a good amount. That was not so in like 89, 90 in Boston. Like the fear was legit.
Well, they talk about the suicidals too, like that. Like on in California, it's just fights with every time.
Those early shows,
Yeah.
They would have straight up police riots at shows in California back there, and like in LA and in Orange County back then. It had to be crazy. But Boston, it was known for kind of like this sort of jockey tough guy mentality. There was a lot of like Slapshot was all hockey references, and before them was SSD, who were just like bring it hard or go home type shit. And that just sort of set the blueprint. What's funny is by the time my generation came on, we were all just a bunch of like skinny suburban kids who couldn't fight. So we started making our music weirder and more metal, and like, you know, and Overcast was very like, we mixed a lot of like eerie metal stuff with the hardcore, and then like, you know, like a lot of Slayer riffs, but like cut in half and add some chugs to make it moshy, you know. So we kind of got away from that sort of tough guy scene because it would be pretty obvious that we weren't tough. So you know, you got these like 120
you
pound
fooled
vegan
me
kids,
when
I
was out with you and I was 18 years old. I was looking at Brian over here. I was like, dude, this guy would fuck me up.
Yeah. So
probably still
it's funny,
true,
man.
But, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm doing more push-ups these days, so watch out.
Oh,
you know?
man, I don't know.
Get ready.
I've been
Get
boxing
ready.
with my boy Virgil Ortiz. No, I haven't really.
There you go. So, but yeah, it was funny to grow up in that scene and then kind of see where things headed from there. Because I remember, being like, you know, hardcore shows I just thought that's how it was everywhere. And you would go play other cities and be like, holy shit, they're not mopping blood up off the floor after the show. It's like, oh, cool.
But so. you guys in that punk scene in California, at least from where I was in the Bay Area, and you guys were more in the punk thing than like the hardcore. Like you talked about Glassjaw, and I feel like you guys were kind of in that too, where you guys kind of walked the borders too, and you were able to play with some different bands than others.
We played with everyone. Like that was the good thing about Shadows Fall crossed a lot of genres. Where back-to-back tours we did a death metal tour with Dismember, Christian, and Cataclysm that could have been more brutal. The next tour was with Glassjaw, and the tour after that was with King Diamond. So like we went from like death metal to like, I don't even know, Glassjaw is like their own thing. I don't even know what to describe that like. Yeah. And then to like classic old school metal, all within 3 tours in a row, and we fit in on all those bills. So it was a cool spot for us, and I think that led to some of our early kind of success because we were also willing to play with any of those bands. We didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves by only doing death metal shows or only doing hardcore shows. And sometimes, you know, that would get some weird reactions from crowds, and that was fine. Our whole goal then was put us in front of anyone and we'll fucking kill it. Like we'll play with radio rock bands. We'll play with fucking hardcore bands. We'll play with death metal bands. We don't give a shit. And we wouldn't change anything either. If anything, if we played a death metal show, we'd make sure we played all our stuff that had tons of clean vocals and clean guitars and shit, just to be like, no, man, we're planting our flag and we're fucking letting you know what we do. And if we played a hardcore show, we're like, we're going to do everything that has shredding solos like today, you know, like it's all going to be shred. So
dude, that was funny to hear that. Like, cause I don't know that we've ever had that conversation, Brian, but like, that's been our mentality too, like the entire time, especially at that time.
But we felt a very kindred spirit to you guys because of that. There was that's why we clicked so quickly, like right out of the gates, because we kind of noticed like, all right, we're taking a lot of the similar influences and ideas, but going in our own directions, but with that mentality of like, love it or leave it. Like, this is who we are. Exactly. We're not dumbing it down for anyone. We're not changing it for anyone. If anything, we're going to confuse you more the next time you see us because we probably got something new. You know,
and that's what you got to keep everyone on their toes, man.
Which, dude, I don't want to blow smoke and shit, but dude, I sat down with the new Avenged record recently, like where I really did the headphone like hangout with it, and dude, it is the most challenging and just envelope pushing music I've heard in forever. And dude, I was so proud of you guys for like literally creating sounds that I've never heard before, but having it all still sound like you guys. You know, it was just incredible. And also the fact that I just love that like you guys have exposed so many people to so many different types and styles and approaches to music, because your fan base seems very open-minded, but are also like a younger kind of crew sometimes compared to like all our fans now are old as shit. So, but so it's awesome to see. And I think it's important. It's like something that has to happen in music, and it very rarely does these days. So you guys should be very proud of what you created there, man. It's fucking awesome.
I appreciate that. I'm glad you checked it out, and thank you for the work.
And I don't listen to new music very often either, so I was like, man, I gotta get in. And I was not prepared for how fucking just far you guys went. And I was like, this is awesome. This is what needs to happen. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much, man. Thanks for getting it. Cause that was it, man. We're pushing. But
hell yeah, man.
I got to ask you about one more thing because as I'm flipping through your Instagram to do a little research here, I noticed you did post about the recent passing of Terry Funk. Are you a professional wrestling fan?
Dude, first of all, R.I.P. to the Funker. Probably my overall favorite wrestler if I had to really be pinned down, mostly because that dude was the most lifer of lifers. But I started watching wrestling with my grandfather, and it was like OG wrestling, like the Von Erichs, man. That was like what I remember watching with my grandfather. Was like, you know, Kerry Von Erich and the Von Erich brothers, and then and also the WWF of the time, which was like, you know, kind of pre Hulk Hogan. Even it was more like, you know, it was right before he was gonna come on. And then by the time Hulkamania came around, I was all in.
Running wild.
You were running wild. I was running wild. I was taking my vitamins.
Taking your vitamins.
I was saying my prayers. I was fucking doing it all, man. And then I did kind of fall off for a little while, and then came back in hard on the Attitude Era, to where me and my friend Jeff went to, I think, 4 consecutive WrestleManias. We traveled all the way to Anaheim for one. The Mick Foley Fatal 4-Way, it was supposed to be his last match. Yeah. We went to a bunch in a row. It was, and got so into that. Like, that era was amazing, man. And also got to meet a bunch of those dudes. Like, I remember hanging out with, you know, Jericho and the Dudleys and Stone Cold at Ozfest, and just being like, of all the things that metal's brought me, this might be the fucking coolest. You know, like taking,
dude.
like literally, like doing a fake like Dudley Death Drop with Bubba Ray, and I'm like, this is as cool as it gets.
You got to do that, dude.
You know, like, just, you know, for a posing for a picture, just like, dude, I got to do it. I'm like, Stone Cold, you got to stun me. You know, like, come on. You know,
that's so rad.
And it was rad, man. And but yeah, my son is now getting into wrestling, so I've been kind of catching up on some of the newer stuff. Although honestly, he wants to watch old Royal Rumbles. That's like his favorite shit.
Dude, the old Royal Rumbles where Ric Flair was hiding underneath the mat. One of the best Royal Rumbles of all time.
Dude, there's so many. That's what's great. It's all that footage now is accessible and stuff. So we've been watching a lot of the old stuff. I do have to remember, sometimes I forget the Attitude Era was maybe not the most kid friendly of wrestling times. So we'll be watching some match, and all of a sudden it's just like, you know, bra and panties match breaks out of nowhere.
Puppies.
Puppies. You know, just like, shit, like, you know. And dude, I also forget like some of the hardcore matches where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have put on the Sabu versus Rob Van Dam match for my kid.
Oh, from ECW.
Oops. Oh yeah, just like I wanted to see him high fly. I'm like, I forgot about the barbed wire, and like, oh shit, like
Dude, it's interesting though. I'm so glad you're a wrestling fan. We could talk for hours about that. Like we're gonna have you on. I'm gonna have you back on, and we're just gonna talk wrestling because now I know
there we go. I'm
that.
down.
We're
so
gonna
down.
do that. But it is interesting. You did mention something that I wanted to get back to. Like you said, like all these you know, fans now are like, oh my god, you were with these bands like back in the day, and you went through and explained like it wasn't that epic. But because you have an archive of stuff, and because, you know, wrestling has an archive of stuff, the younger generation is experiencing it now and has no idea if it was big, small, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're just like, oh, these are all my fucking favorite bands, and you're seeing it with a lot of these reunions too. Like a lot of these bands
100%.
being back together. I mean, and it's really cool to see, man. And like, I don't know. There wasn't really a question in there. I just wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's coming in waves too, where like, you know, we kind of, you know, like right now, us and God forbid getting to play shows again. And
are you guys playing shows together? By the way, I was.
We did the boat with them, but yeah. So I don't know if they're on Rockville.
You guys got to do some shows like straight up together.
Yeah, because totally. We did the Blue Ridge Rock Festival together, and that was their first show back.
Wait, you did the Blue Ridge?
Yeah, not this one that got shut down. Like, in the middle of
I was just gonna ask. I was gonna go. No, wait. Someone who was there. I need to know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, no, it was the year before, and which was, we could already tell, dude. It was kind of a shit show there, as far as they didn't have the roof to our stage. It was 8 a.m. and the show starting supposedly at noon, and the roof's not there because the production company is like, the last check hasn't come through yet, and you're not getting the roof until we get the last check.
And that was
so then at some 0 hour they pay, and it's about to rain, so they're like, you're gonna need a roof. I don't think Ghost is gonna headline without the roof, you know. So they finally get it up, so we can already tell, like, all right, this thing's hanging on kind of by a thread. And I think their thing was like, we're going to spend a ton of money to get all these bands we want. And maybe they didn't put as much into the infrastructure as they, probably should have. We had a blast. Like, we had an incredible time. I also got to watch Cannibal Corpse play right before Ice Cube, which was one of the coolest back-to-back things possible. Yeah, yes. And dude, Ice Cube fucking destroyed the place. Absolutely
so
destroyed
good. We got
the
to
place.
do a mayhem with him and Body Count. Body Count was amazing.
I like how Family Values started that like kind of thing,
totally.
and then it just went away, and then dude, and now
mixed genre stuff used to be such a normal thing, and then it kind of just things got so hyper focused on a single scene or something like that. It's good to see that that's kind of changing, and even these festivals like the bigger rock ones are bringing in some variety at least too, which is cool. Whether it's some hip, the kids now, you think about it, they've been listening to like shuffles of weird shit on like things forever. That don't get that knee jerk reaction between genres. Plus, everyone's combined every genre at this point, and they've seen it all. Whereas, us old Jada dudes were like always like, keep your chocolate out of my peanut butter shit of like, I
got out of that after like freshman year of high school. I started going, I don't need to do that. But like when you're a kid, but it's awesome that because kids don't have that, and
they don't have that at all,
and they haven't had that for the last 10 years. So now you got these new artists in their early 20s. And they're creating the perfect melds of all these genres. I mean, you got a band like we just took out on this last leg in Kim Dracula, and you can hear Korn and Faith No More in there. You could hear and then some jazz and funk stuff that's happening. And it's like, it's so cool when it's done, not just for the sake of we need to meld them together. It's just like, this is just what's going on in my head and my heart. And a lot of new artists are doing that with this alternative push right now. I think it's rad.
Yeah, because you don't want to just cut and paste stuff together. You want them to like put these ideas together, and that's what's happening. As opposed to just like, we're gonna go from our ska part into our death metal part or whatever. It's like, no, people are like actually creating new sounds based off of these kind of ideas. Right. So. But it's cool, man. And like you were saying, like the waves of bands being able to, like certain sounds and styles kind of getting a second life right now it's cool. And like the new metal revivals in full swing, and then it seems like now the new wave of American heavy metal is like right behind it, kind of having a minute again. So it's cool. And for us being part of that, being like, oh, cool. Thank you. Like, we'd love to play shows again. So great. Yeah. Cool. You actually want to see it? All right, great. Yeah. But yeah, it's been cool, man. So it's been fun to see not only people like interested in something you created a while ago, but also excited for you to see what you're going to do next. Cause I think if we would have came back and not done new music, it would have felt much more like a one-off reunion kind of thing, or just like a nostalgia thing. And now we're like, no, like we may never be a full-time band, but we're creative musicians who do this because we want to hear the sounds that we've always wanted to hear, and write those songs. And so it's cool to get a chance to do that again. So.
Dude, honestly, and it's the perfect timing for it, as you said, for so many reasons. The technology, the way things are being released, you can be creative in the way that you release things. I know, like there was niches of creativity when you would do a release and stuff, but like, it wasn't like, the creativeness doesn't stop after you're out of the studio at this point now you can
totally,
you could have fun with how you release stuff now, which is a really great thing, but it's also a challenge because there's no wrong or right way to do it right now. It's just everyone's just figuring out what they want to do. But for so long, it was, it felt like a fucking, what do you call those things? The lines that everyone works on. I'm drawing a blank.
It's total assembly line. Total. The labels had all the say because they had all the money. And now once they started losing money and realizing that they couldn't control it that way and dictate what you did, it changed everything.
Absolutely.
So, because that, our contracts used to have that like written in, like you have to do this by this time, you have to tour this much, or you lose this if you don't do that, and it's all that shit's out the window, Yeah. So,
which is great for the artist, and it's great for you guys right now. Perfect time.
Although having labels that cut those big advance checks was nice too back in the day.
But then you realize you have to recoup on them, and if you're still on that contract, you're like, "Fuck, that wasn't that great of a deal."
I'll say we got very lucky where like our major label experience didn't maybe work out exactly how we wanted to, because we signed with Atlantic and they cut us a really good deal, and it was incredibly band friendly. But then our A&R guy and the president of the label, who had basically signed us, were both gone before the album came out. And so like we were stuck in a weird spot, but you know, we had the budget to record at Dave Grohl's Studio 606, live out in California for a few months, use that major label money. Cause we also knew we're like you said, you got to recoup it. So we're like, fuck it. We're just gonna, whatever they're throwing at us, we're going to spend it and we're going to take it.
Right.
And then when it turned around, so then our whole team's gone. So the release doesn't really get the like focus and the love that it would have gotten otherwise. So then, but it sold enough to kick in our second album clause, where the number was pretty fucking big. And we could tell they did not want to write that check. And we didn't want to be on the label anymore. So we're like, well, for this number, we can just go away. You know, we can just walk away. We can all shake hands and it'll be great. So they're like, all right, you know, after some negotiations, they cut a check and we walk away. And then we turn around and we sign with the guy who owned Ferret Records to do a little imprint that was owned by Warner Music, who owned Atlantic. So they ended up putting out the record anyway after paying us to go away. So like every now and then, like we didn't always have the best business luck, but like every now and then we're like, all right, we pulled that one off pretty good.
That was a good one.
little double dip on the way out, you know?
Yeah, man. That's great, man. I appreciate your time, dude. I can't wait to hear. I mean, I can't even believe the words are coming out of my mouth that I'm going to get to hear possibly some new Shadows Fall music.
Hells yeah.
Fucking very cool. I can't wait to see what the next year holds for you guys and you, Brian. And hopefully, man, we're around each other, man. I'd love to crack a beer with you in person here sometime soon.
Without a doubt, man.
Wrestling event.
Great.
Yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Are you going to go see? Are you going to go see Sting's last match in Greensboro?
I don't think I'll be able to make it, unfortunately, but I'll be watching. So
yeah, all right. Well,
but indeed, man, it's been great to at least have a beer with you virtually. So you know,
yes, absolutely, man.
But it's great to see you, man, and thanks for having me on. Always down to kick it. So
absolutely, man. I really appreciate your time, everyone. Go check out more of Brian Fair, Brian Shadows Fall everywhere. Easy enough to find these days, as you know. So go check that out. Go find one of these shows. I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed by seeing the Shadows Fall show.
Yep. If you're in New Jersey, March 16th, New Jersey, it's going to be 20th anniversary of The War Within. The only time we've ever played the whole record. A few songs I don't think we've ever played live, so it's going to be fun. And then welcome to Rockville as well. So come and party.
Leave the weed whackers at home. He doesn't.
Yes,
want
indeed. No weed whackers.
What if they like the front row just showed up with a bunch of weed whackers?
they would have free merch forever. Like that'd be the best thing ever. So.
Well, again, man, thank you so much. Cheers, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. As always, cheers.